Okay, I'm back. Same day, same stuff. Not same stuff. Same day. Thursday, November 8th. And it's my Three Things Thursday video edition. I keep meaning to or wanting to give a recap of the Screaming Pumpkin. Hopefully I won't talk as because I really could talk about this for a long time, but I'm really trying to keep it short today. I really wanted to give a video or a written response, and maybe I will, and just give like the highlights instead of like rambling on. There was just so many like details with the Screaming Pumpkin that I have found, like so many times I've sat down, I'm like, okay, I need to give a recap of Screaming Pumpkin, but I'm like, oh, there are so many little different things that factored into that night that I'm just like overwhelmed by having to actually write it all out. So, but I think that it's fair to anybody considering the Screaming Pumpkin. I think it's fair feedback to the people who are in charge of the Screaming Pumpkin. And let me just say that I think it's my own assessment of myself. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that my friends and those that know me will say this is a fair assessment. I'm not a type of person to really complain or to complain. I can think of another word, but it's not really a term that I use on a regular basis, nor do I want to put on video, to put on YouTube that, hey, my children might see or whatever. But I'm not one to complain about a lot of stuff. I think you have to be honest about things. You have to talk about things that went wrong. But I'm very generous in my understanding. Crap happens. I get that. And in a large, there's many things with the Screaming Pumpkin that I'm like, you know what? It happens. It wasn't their fault. It was just some of those things that happened. And I'm not meaning to be negative or to put the Screaming Pumpkin race down or those who run it or anything, but there were just some things that I'm like, okay, that really, you need that feedback, because I think I'm not the only one that felt that way. I don't know if you're getting this other feedback from other people. So this is kind of to the Screaming Pumpkin people, but also my race recap to my my blog and those who follow my blog and stuff. So I will have to say, on the plus side, Screaming Pumpkin has super awesome swag. It always has. If you do the full marathon, you get lots and lots of swag. Last year, if you look at my Screaming Pumpkin video from last year, I was wearing my black Mizuno Thermal Breathe or whatever it's called jacket. I love that jacket. It's one of my favorite things to wear. I wore it all the time. I still wear it all the time, but now it has been replaced by my my newest jacket. The swag in this race is great. We got, whether you did the 10K or if you were the marathon relay, you got a nice hat. I should just be wearing this because I know my hair looks really funky today. I did look in the mirror before. I haven't washed my hair yet today. I haven't had my shower. And I saw that my hair is really funky, but I was like, whatever. But nice hat here from Saucony. Saucony seemed to have taken over as their major sponsor. And then there's really nice tech. I just say last year the shirts were awful. Just there was even like two different types of shirts and it wasn't even like male versus female, because I had several running friends go up to do the relay last year, and even amongst our women there was like two different styles that were two different colors they fit differently. My opinion from last year, the shirt sucked. I like the design, I will say that, but the actual shirt sucked. I only wear my shirt when it's underneath something from last year. So to get this year's shirt, this year's shirt was great. I don't know if I'd say it was extreme as fond of the design, but yeah, just little details, okay? I'm just pointing little things out. I'm not saying it's awful. But I really like this shirt. I kind of don't like, this is more of an opinion of how the Saucony shirt fits. Like when I wear this shirt, it tends to ride up very easily right around my midsection. And it also seems to be just a little short on my midsection, and I'm a short person, so I can't imagine how this would fit on a tall person. I would think that it wouldn't fit them at all, but I'm not tall, I'm not making that opinion. I'm saying as a shorter person, don't really necessarily like how it falls down by my waist. So could just be me, could just be my body type, my little midsection there that's a little pudgy. But in general, I really like this shirt. It's really light. It's very, it's that, you know, the wicking stuff. It's Saucony. I like the back. that there. Wow, my shirt's already stained. My goodness. This is that VisiPro. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. VisiPro. I don't know. Really like the shirt. I really do this year. So bonus plus. And you got a hat. Whether you did the relay, the 10K, and if you did the full marathon, you got this. And then if you did the full marathon individually, you got this awesome, sweet looking jacket. Now, this is actually the men's jacket. When they showed the pictures of the men's and women's jacket, it must have just been the picture, because when I saw them in real life, what I saw in the picture was not true to what I saw in real life. When I saw the picture, the women's jacket was more of a peach color. It was a much lighter orange color, and it had a gray zipper, whereas this is black. And I didn't like the picture of the women's jacket. And the picture they showed was just like a model of the jacket. It wasn't an actual, like they took a picture of it. It was like, this is the model and brand that's going to be offered for the women's jacket. I didn't like the color that I saw. Now, having seen the women's jacket in real life, it's actually the exact same color as this. But the picture did not show that. And the other reason why I requested a men's jacket because the men's was more orangish, and I liked the black versus the gray zipper. It's the little details, trust me. And the men's had this little zipper pocket thingy here, and the women's did not. So I actually really like this feature on a jacket. I have it on another vest that I own. And it's just something that I liked. So I said, hey, even though I'm a woman, can I get a man's jacket? And I like women's jackets. I have some, but I know that women's jackets are more tailored. They cut in more, which makes it more form-fitting and stuff. And I wanted something a little bit looser because a lot of times with the women's cut, it's hard to layer things underneath it then. This has a much boxier, it comes out more here on my side, so I can wear a lot of layers underneath it. It does, I'm a short person, no, but because it's a men's, it's longer in the sleeves, but I actually like that because when I'm running, if I don't have my gloves, and it's just a little bit cool, then I can just kind of tuck my hands in. So I like the men's jacket. They have the logo over here. I kind of wish they had put it on the side, but I guess maybe it just wouldn't have worked with this material or something, just minor detail, but swag is awesome. Not complaining about that. So for those that don't know, the premise of this race is that you run a marathon either as a team or an individual, and the winner of the race is actually determined by who finishes the closest to midnight. Has nothing to do with speed. You could take the full 6 hours to run a marathon, and if you finish right on midnight, you are the winner of the race. So that's pretty neat. It's about, I think I can run a 4-hour marathon. So I'm going to start at 8 o'clock tonight. You cannot start any sooner than 6. So the maximum time that you can have is 6 hours. But that's what it's based upon, is you wanting to run your marathon and start your marathon whenever you want. Okay, that's going to come in play here in just a little bit. So we get there, it was probably 5:45. I will have to say, I personally kind of wanted to get there a little bit sooner, but I was riding with other people, and I'm not blaming you guys at all. I was totally fine with it. Even having got there with 15 to 20 minutes to spare, that still should have been plenty of time. But we got there, probably by the time I walked up to the tent area, it was probably 5:45, okay? I really wanted to start at 6 o'clock. Not that I really need the 6 hours. I know that I can run a marathon faster than that, but I like to take my time on this race. You go out and you do 4 different loops. I like to do a couple loops and then maybe sit and talk with my friends for a while. Hey, let's go get a cup of cocoa. Let's, I don't like it to be all running. I like it to be a fun event. I have friends there. I want to hang out with them. We're not always running at the same time. So I want to visit with them and hang out with them and enjoy the evening, listen to the band for a little bit, whatever. I want to do that throughout the night. And so I have to give myself those full 6 hours. And I wanted to run the first full loop in daylight while it was still light outside. And at that time, about 6:45 is when it was getting dark. And so I knew I wanted to run that loop, first loop right at 6 o'clock, okay? So getting there is 15 minutes to grab my stuff, to get ready. Even if I started like at 6:05 or whatever, I was like, okay, I'll be good to go. I don't have to start right at 6, but real close to that. But we get there, and there really seemed to be no organization whatsoever. Okay, you have 4 different races. They have a 2-mile walk run. They have the 10K. They have the marathon relay, and they have the individual marathon. There was no organization whatsoever. There was a big tent and a lot of people. I had no clue what was pickup, what was gear pickup, what was number pickup. I didn't know if this line was 10K only. I didn't know if marathon had their own line. Quite honestly, number one, there should have been signs. Packet pickup, you know, start here, number, station 1, get your number. Station 2, gear pickup. You know, it should have been labeled. It should have been signs that had said 10K only, marathon only, 2-mile only, pre-registered, lay register. I mean, just organization. There was none. It's like, I could maybe throw you a little bone if you had something up, but there was no signage whatsoever. So there's a long line, there's a tent, it's crowded full of people. I'm looking around, I have no idea where to go. I want to get my stuff picked up, I want to go. Long line, long line. And so I'm like, okay, I get in the line that I think I might need to be in. I'm not sure. I get in line, I'm probably in that line for like 10 minutes. It's going really, really slow. Okay, that happens. I get in a really slow line. And right when I get up to the table, I see people getting their stuff, their jackets, their shirts, whatever. And I was like, oh, and actually I did ask somebody, this is nobody's fault. It just happened. I asked somebody what line I was supposed to get in, and they said they thought I was supposed to be in that line. So that's why I stayed in that line. It was shorter. I'm like, all right. We get up there, and I'm like, people are showing them like their numbers and stuff, and I'm like, I don't have my number yet. What am I supposed to do? And so I get up there, and they're like, oh, no, you have to get in that line. Long line. You have to get in that line to get your number first, and then you got to come over here. I had already wasted 10 minutes in that other line. Again, there were no signs that were to say what line I was or wasn't supposed to be in. So I'm like, nice, wonderful. That's good to know after 10 minutes, and it's getting close to when the race is going to start or when you can start running. So I go get back in that line, and we wait there, and we wait there, and we wait there. The line really isn't moving at all. And then they announce, you know, hey, people, the computers have crashed. We can't really take you guys in right now. You know, we won't start without you, especially 10K. Now, I didn't run the 10K, so in some ways it doesn't affect me. If I was a 10K runner, I would have been furious, because more than one time they said, we're not going to start without you. We're going to make sure that you guys are all ready to go, and then we'll start the 10K. And like 20 minutes later, they actually started the 10K, and there were people in the line that were like, I'm running the 10K, and they just started it. Now, it's chip time, so I get that. You don't have to start when the gun goes off. If they're going by chip time, then you can start later as long as you've got your chip and you start and finish. But they several times said, we won't start without you. And then they actually started without them. So basically the computer system completely crashed. And apparently there was no backup system. There was no plan B. There was no... In that, I actually give the most understanding to. Crap happens. I get it. That was nobody's fault. There should have been a plan B. There should have been something that what's going to happen if this. I don't know. So we still wait, and then they try to divide us. Okay, 10K in this line. We're going to start a 10K line here, and then we're going to start a marathon line over here. So that kind of helped, and I tried to get over as soon as possible, but other people got there in front of me, so I'm still there waiting in line. And you hear other people grumbling, complaining. The one computer they did have working, that ended up stopping working altogether too. So, I mean, there is probably, I'm just guessing, but I'm talking, I'm a bad judge, 30 people maybe 50, I don't know. There were several. I'm not talking just like, oh, there's a small handful of people. No, there was a line that probably extended, I can probably think of it in football terms, 10 yards. A 10-yard line full of people waiting to get their number, which had their chip, and then to get their gear. And they tried to divide us between 10K and marathon, and then the one computer that they did have working, that crashed too. So they had absolutely no way to check anyone in. They did say at one point, well, if you just want to start running and just tell us your name and we'll write down what time you start and we'll just figure it out on the flip end. So, hey, I mean, I had my out then. I just could have been like, whatever, I'm just going to go run. And I'll worry about everything else later. But that could go wrong. And I was actually worried because it became apparent they didn't have packets done up for people who pre-registered. They just had tables full of like all these jackets. And so when you went up, they gave you your stuff. There was no packet with my name, with a bag with my name, with my gear in it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not walking away and then coming back and then they say, oh, we don't have that size, or we're out of jackets, or, you know, on the flip side, I now know that they had plenty of gear, but at the time I'm like, I'm not, I paid $130 for this marathon. Mostly for the swag. I get that. The race is great, but mostly for the swag. I know that's what you're paying for when you pay that much money. But I'm like, I am not just going to walk away and be like, oh, whatever, we'll just figure it out later. Who cares about all my money that I spent? No! I was staying in line. So, it took, eventually they were just like, okay, we're just going to write your name down. We're going to give you a number. Write that number down next to your name. It was all on a piece of paper and just go. So I finally, right when I get up there, and the woman's like, wait right here, okay? I need to check my time. I'm sure I'm going way too long. Okay, I'm going to run out of time if I don't hurry. So the woman's like, wait right here. So she went off and did something. I don't know what she did. That's fine. I was to that point that I was going back and forth between being really ticked off, like steaming mad, and then I'd be like ready to cry. I'm just like, I just want to run. It's by now dark. We're waiting. We're hearing different announcements. We don't know what's going on. They start the 10K. Those who were there, I guess, super early or had their packets picked up in advance, they were already running. My friends that I had run with, and I had planned to run, my running partner was on a team of people, and I was going to run with her. When she did her loop for the team, I was going to run with her. But they happened to get in front of me, and they got all their stuff. And I understand. I don't mean this in any, you know, we were together, yet we were separate, and I knew that. But they all got their stuff, and my running partner, she walks by, and I'm like, are you going to get started? And she's like, yeah. And I just, right then I wanted to cry, because I'm like, I'm supposed to run with you. You know, that had kind of been the plan, is we were going to run together. There just shouldn't have been this much crap going on. And then I was on the verge of tears, because my friends then, they walked away and they started their own race. And I understand that's what they needed to do. That's what they should have done. But it just left me then on the outside. I'm like, and I'm still stuck here in this line. And I'm also noticing while I'm in this line waiting that other people are walking up. They probably know people. I didn't say anything. I tend to be a person that just, I'm furious on the inside. I'm upset on the inside, but I'm just like, I don't say anything, because I'll probably lose it and go the extreme opposite. But I noticed some people, they would walk up, and I don't know if they're like knew the people, but they were like, hey, can we just get our stuff? Can you just give me a number? And the workers back there were doing that. They were sliding stuff to other people who were just kind of coming up on the side. I'm just like, I'm waiting in the line that I'm supposed to. I'm trying to do things the way they want us to do, and there are people sliding in on the side, and they're giving them their number and their gear and stuff. I'm like, well, gee, I wish I knew someone but that's not fair to the other people. So right when this lady comes back to help me, she's like, just a minute. So I'm waiting patiently. I'm seriously was trying not to cry. Some man cuts right in front of me. He's like, I need to start. He's like, where do I get my number? And again, there's still at least 24 people behind me, if not more. And I'm just like, and people behind me heard him. There was seriously almost a riot. And she's like, well, this is where you get your number. He's like, I'm doing the marathon. I need to start. And people back there were like, hey, there's a line. Get back here. He's like, I'm running the marathon. Are you? And some people were like, yeah, we are. And the woman, worker, whatever, she was like, we're going to have a riot. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm just standing there going, oh my goodness. And the guy, he's like, well, if it makes you feel any better, I just drove from Kansas to run this race. Again, riot ready to break out. We don't care where the F you're from. Ah, get in line. And the one, and actually, to a small degree, and I have no idea who this person is, she should have said to that man, you need to get at the back of the line. These people have been waiting. But instead, she gave him a number. Again, there was almost a riot. People were like screaming and yelling behind me, like ready to have a riot. Because we've been waiting in line at this point for over an hour. And this man walks up and just pulls his BS, and she gives him the number. And I mean, he was like, sorry guys, I'm so sorry, I gotta get going. I'm like, really? Number one, he should have done that. Shame on him. Number two, she should have said, I'm sorry, sir, you need to wait, just like everybody else has been. It's really unfortunate. So for a race that is based on starting whenever you want, the fact that we couldn't start when we wanted to, the proper way. Oh, I get that they said, well, you can start running and we'll write your name down and we'll get it figured out later. To me, that's not legit. That's a poor excuse. And the fact that people didn't get to start when they wanted to. How can you run a race and base it on that when, because of your lack of organization, I get that the computers crashed. Totally get it. But there was also an extreme lack of organization that people couldn't start when they wanted to. I did not start when I wanted to. So, finally get my number. I have been in line for over an hour. It's getting close to 7 o'clock, maybe a little after. I don't know exactly what time I started, but I know that it was after 7. It was completely dark. And so I finally get my number. I step over to the next station. I probably need to stop this. A minute. Okay, to be continued, because me and my mouth. But seriously, I hope you Screaming Pumpkin people really watch this, because I think it's valuable input. It was frustrating. I'm going to get to it, because so it's been over an hour. I've been waiting in line for over an hour, and I'm still not to my last straw with this race. So I'm out of video. I got like less than a minute left on my video, and I need to stop it and finish my Screaming Pumpkin recap. All right, bye.